What's the dealia? The dealia is back to give you guys my thoughts on the second book that I read this year, which is Winning at Sales by Taylor Welch. How to get so good that people say thank you for letting them buy. This book paired really well with the first book that I read for this year, which was The Currency of Heaven by Taylor Welch as well. So if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead back in the playlist and see my review on that. But this book is a 10 out of 10, 5 stars. It pairs really well with that book, and it's a great foundation for me in my entrepreneurial journey in sales to have a really strong mindset about the kingdom work in sales and what we're doing to glorify God. One of the coolest things that Taylor does in this book and in his podcast, The Deep End, which I've been watching for a few years now, you guys should definitely check it out, is he articulates something that most people feel but can't actually say and understand, which is that sales is not neutral. Just like anything in this world, every time you have a conversation with somebody and you exchange, it's a transfer of belief. It's not just words coming out of your mouth. You are spiritually transferring energy with people, and when it's done right, it can glorify God in the process. Right off the bat, he talks about these 3 rules of sales. And they're very simple, but they're really confronting to who you are as a person and your identity and your belief about yourself. So these 3 rules are: tell the truth, don't manipulate others, and let other people choose freely. Which those sound really obvious, but when you realize this culture violates those rules all the time. People think that pressure in sales is how you get more sales, when in reality, Taylor breaks down that the true currency is trust in sales. When you trust somebody, you're going to want to buy from them, and it's going to be a very powerful, good exchange of belief and exchange of energy. So the second concept that we're going to break down is moral authority. This is probably the biggest takeaway that I had from this book, but moral authority is basically you believe in what you're selling, you live by what you're offering, and you're not trying to sell from a place of insecurity or desperation. You know, people can feel when you're aligned, and if you don't respect what you're offering, then no sales script is going to save you. This book really reinforced that authority doesn't come from any title or certification. It comes from real integrity and being in alignment. So the third thing we're going to talk about is clean versus evil energy. Taylor talks a lot about clean versus evil energy in sales, and I know that that language sounds intense, but it's really simple, and we're going to break it down. Clean energy is clear, honest, calm, and it's service-orientated for other people. Evil energy is chaotic, loud, it's fast-driven, and it's very selfish in nature. It's egotistical. Sales done with clean energy will feel peaceful, even if the answer is no. And just understanding that this energy exists and it's the driving force behind people will really reframe every conversation that you have. So as somebody stepping into sales, this book really mattered to me because it reminded me who I'm grounded in. You know, it reminded me that sales is service, that conviction beats persuasion, and that alignment is better than any technique that you could ever be taught. You know, I'm not here to close people. I'm here to help people choose what's going to best benefit their own life. And this book really gave me a language and a structure to reiterate that heart posture. The reason I'm stepping into sales is because it is a foundational skill. You know, this book can be for anybody who is going into sales, but also just wants those skills as far as having conversations with people, articulating your beliefs, and creating connections that are genuine in the spirit and in integrity. And that's just something that Taylor does on a day-to-day basis. You know, I really respect him as a voice because his posture is not that is performative, but you can tell that his words and his stories are lived. You know, his experience is really being spirit-led and translated in a meaningful and authentic way. Really touched my life. So to wrap it all up and tie it with a bow, the first book that I read this month, The Currency of Heaven, really gave a foundational understanding of what we're striving towards. Whereas Winning at Sales gives us this comprehensive way of moving in the world to get to that goal. And it does it all without compromising your values as a Christian. I mean, it's good to understand that your faith and business can coexist, that sales doesn't have to feel dirty, and that integrity is always profitable, even if not right now. So if you have read Winning at Sales, make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what stood out to you. And if you're somebody who is walking out your faith in real world work, make sure to subscribe to the channel because there's going to be plenty more book reviews to come. And that's the deal. Yeah. Thank you.